Hello. In this video, we're going through Notes 12, Order of Operations. To complete a calculation, we actually have to follow these things called Order of Operations. And this process applies to every single math problem you'll do from this point forward. Let me go ahead and give you a little mnemonic device first of all. Some of you know it as PEMDAS, and a really nice little thing you can do is actually write the abbreviation down when you start the test or right before you start so that you can have it sitting there right in front of you. I'll go through what each one of them means and I'll give you a little mnemonic device to help you remember it. The P, or I'll use a P, stands for parentheses and grouping symbols. The parentheses actually include fractions, which is what they're calling here, including numerators and denominators, absolute value symbols because they group numbers together, any kind of parentheses or brackets or braces, all of those are included in parentheses. So I like to say parentheses, brackets, braces, fractions, absolute value. That's about all of them that I can think of. And the second one is exponents. So when you're doing a math problem, all of those first things that I wrote down are taken care of. The second thing that you address are the third thing you would address would be any multiplication as it exists from left to right. And then finally, addition and subtraction as it exists from left to right. The little mnemonic device that I wanted to show you is this. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Maybe she burped in church or farted. I don't know. But if you write down the first letter of each word in that silly sentence that's hard to forget, you get please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Or you can remember it as PEMDAS. Okay, either way. So let's get started and we'll apply these things as we go along. The very first thing we'll approach is our P, any kind of grouping symbols. E will be the exponents will be taken care of second, multiplication and division third, and addition and subtraction last, but from left to right as it exists. All right, on this first one we have only multiplication and division. Because they're actually the same operation or in the same category, we just address it as we go from left to right. You don't have to do all multiplications first and all divisions second. So let's do it. We're going to do the 15 divided by 3 first. That's going to be 5. And then in the next step, I'll multiply what I got in that division times the 2 that's left. That'll give me a 10. In the second question, we have addition and multiplication. Which one would go first according to your order of operations? That's right, multiplication. So we're going to do the 3 times 2 first. I'll bring the rest of the problem down. 15 plus 3 times 2 is 6. And then 15 plus 6 is 21. On our next question, we've got a grouping symbol. So again, that's our P. We're going to take care of that first. 15 plus 3 is 18. Then we can worry about what operations are left. There's only one, so it's going to be pretty easy. We do the 18 times 2 next, which is 36. On the next one, we've got a grouping symbol. That's the first thing we take care of. The rest of it I'll bring down. Later, as you get a little bit better, you'll understand when you are able to do a couple of things at once. Until you actually understand why, you don't need to. 3 plus 7, and I'm going to keep it in parentheses, divided by 2. Okay, I took care of the P, the parentheses part of it. Now what's left? Well, we have exponents, multiplication, division, and subtraction. Exponents go next. So the 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. Bring the rest of it down. I'm going to drop the 10 now. Down, it doesn't have anything but a negative in front of it, so it'll be carried along. Next, after you take care of the exponents, all multiplication and division as they occur from left to right. We've got a multiplication here, which is 72. We've got a division here, which is 10 divided by 2, which is 5. And after doing the final subtraction, you're going to get 67. Feel free to stop the video at any time. Try it yourself, and then continue on. All right, in number 5, again, the first thing you should notice is that grouping symbol, 9 plus 4, and then in the grouping symbol, 10 minus 6 is 4, divided by 2 cubed. Next, do we want to add, multiply, or divide, or do the exponent next? Correct. Exponent gets taken care of second. 9 plus 4 times 4 divided by 2 to the third power is 2 times 2 times 2. Stretch it out if you need to. That's going to be a 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay. Now we have multiplication, division, and addition. Right. All multiplication and division as they occur from left to right. So I'm going to do those first. 9 plus. That's 16 divided by 8. 16 divided by 8 would go next. 9 plus 16 divided by 8 is 2. And the answer is 11. Number 6. Continuing with our order of operations. I've got a bracket, but inside the bracket we have a parentheses. Anytime you have multiple grouping symbols, you always start inside of the furthest or the largest grouping symbol. Inside of that bracket, you do the order of operations from start to finish again. So the very first thing we need to take care of is that parentheses. Negative 8 plus 7 minus 11 is a negative 4. Now we're going to finish inside that grouping symbol. We're still doing the order of operations inside the bracket. We have negative 8. 4 plus a negative 4. That's a rule we saw before, which is 0. Now, before we do that last step, I want to remind you, parentheses, brackets, and braces are actually all the very same thing. These are round, these are square, and these are squiggly. They do this because sometimes you have problems that have multiple grouping symbols in them, and this way you can tell which beginning goes with which end. That's why we had a bracket and a parentheses involved there. Now, last step, we've got a multiplication here, and again, bracket is nothing more than a square parentheses, so it's just implying the same thing, multiplication, and that is going to be 0. Let's keep going. For number 7. Now, be careful with this. The only time that the negative sign is included with the squared symbol is if the entire number is in parentheses, kind of like this negative 4 over here. See, the negative 5 is not in parentheses, so only the 5 is getting raised to the 2 power. So this would be 5 squared, which is 5 times 5, 25. The negative is after the fact. Plus, and again, the first thing, I didn't even say it, the first thing we take care of in this problem is the exponents. Now, I have a negative 2 multiplied by itself 3 times. I want you to tell me the sign first. 3 negatives, that's going to multiply out to be a negative, isn't it? And 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Plus, on this one, we've got 2 negative 4s that are multiplied together. Well, 2 negative 4s is going to be a positive, isn't it? And this time the negative did get squared because it is included in parentheses, and 4 squared is 16. Now we've got nothing but addition and subtraction as we go from left to right. I'm going to add the 2 negatives together first. Negative 25, oops, let me write that differently. The 2 negatives added together are going to give a negative number. It's like writing 2 hot checks. You're still hot, right? And I'm going to add the 25 and the 8 together. That's 13, which makes negative 33. You were overdrawn by $25 and you wrote another check for $8. So now you're down $33 in your checking account. Then you came along and you deposited $16. Because you're adding a positive and a negative number, all you have to do is subtract them and keep the sign of the larger. The larger number is negative, so we're going to get a negative answer. And all I have to do is subtract them. Let's see, borrow. One. So negative 17 is our answer. Let's get one more on this video. When we look at this problem, we've got this fraction. We're going to take care of that fraction first. In the top, you'll deal with the order of operations, and in the bottom, you'll do order of operations. In the top, I can tell that we're going to have to square first. So we have 81 minus 1. On the bottom, there's multiplication and addition, so we're going to do the multiplication first. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 6. Now we can do the addition and subtraction on each order of operations. On the top, it's 81 minus 1, which is 80, and 10 plus 6 is 16, minus 5. 80 divided by 16, when you do the long division, is going to be 5. I'll let you do the long division and stuff on your own now, just for time's sake on the video. 5 minus 5 is going to be 0. It is okay to get answers of 0, isn't it? I think I have for another one. Let's see. If I have a fraction, that means I do order of operations on the top and then order of operations on the bottom. On the top, I've got this grouping symbol, so I'm going to do the negative 10 plus 4. That's a negative 6. That's going to be multiplied onto negative 3 in my next step. In the denominator, I have a negative 8 times a negative 3, which is a positive 24. Now we have, to finish the numerator, we have negative 6 times negative 3. That's a positive 18 over 24. And we do want to go ahead and reduce our answer. I can tell that they're both even, so I'm going to start by dividing top and bottom by 2. That gives me 9 over 12. Well, 9 over 12 can be reduced a little bit further by 3. So I'm going to divide top and bottom by 3. And I'm going to get 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And there's my final answer. I think we can finish this number 10. Negative 10 minus 4 is negative 14. And if you need to convert it into an addition problem, you can do that off in the margin. We've passed that section, so I know you can do that now. On the bottom, the very first thing we would take care of is the squared part. 9 minus negative 3 squared. Now the negative is included because it is under parentheses, so that's going to be negative 3 times negative 3, which is 9. On the top, we're going to get negative 14 times negative 2, which is 28, and 9 minus 9 is 0. Remember, when the 0 is underneath, it's undefined. All right, I think I'll see you in the next video to finish off this note.